Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills, this is Logan Burgess. Today is March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and we had the market moving a little lower here with corn for May delivery down 7 3/4, soybeans trading up 3 1/4 cents, wheat in Chicago down 12 3/4, and Kansas City wheat trading down 8 cents. Now we did have NOPA crush numbers come out today. Logan, what were they and did they move the market?
Yeah, we'll take a look at this slide here. We did get those NOPA crush numbers out today. Probably the largest report that we saw on today's action. As you can see here, the February crush number came out a little bit better than what traders were expecting, about 700,000 bushels higher than the average trade guess. So, looking at that, could be a little bit of a supportive story here for soybeans. But in general, looking at both the oil stocks and the crush number from February, I'm going to kind of label this as a neutral report. Not a big story, I think, either way for the bears or the bulls. One story to kind of update you guys here is a story that we talked about last week. As we know, exports out of Argentina have been slowed over the last week as there is a ship carrying Paraguayan soybeans that has ran aground. I know initially when we talked about this story, the thought was that it was going to be freed within a week. Well, we're now 9 days into this story. The ship is still holding up grain flow at Argentina's largest export facility. So that could be a little bit of a supportive story for soybeans. But if we think about the bean market in general right now, what we also saw last week was large cancellations from the Chinese. There are concerns about inland domestic crush margins right now in China. So I think we have kind of conflicting fundamentals on the international front. Right now, I guess it seems like this Chinese story is trumping the Argentinian story.
Well, let's move over to some more geopolitical events. We have Ukraine, or actually Crimea, voting to secede from Ukraine. We have Putin saying that that's a legal vote. We have Ukraine saying that that's never going to happen. Yep. But we do see grain continue to flow out of Ukraine. What do you make of this? Is this something? Obviously we traded down today, kind of a surprise in light of that vote. What do you make of the way we traded?
There's a lot of talk late last week kind of about concerns over this vote. So there was a risk premium, I think, built into it coming into today's vote. We might have seen some of that kind of fade today. The secession vote did come down here, but what the big game changer, I guess the driver for the grain market, is how much grain is leaving Ukraine. We've seen exports remain relatively unaffected. 700,000 metric tons of corn left the country last week. That's a strong number there for them. When you look at numbers like that, it's not a big reason for the bulls to get excited in the corn or the wheat market. And additionally, on top of that, you look at the report out from the USDA last week. They expect the issues in Ukraine, as they stand now, to not be a major impact on spring acreage sowing. So I think those two factors combined, I guess I'm not looking for this to be a major supportive story moving forward unless things really start to spiral out of control. But based on what we saw over the weekend, it seems like a little bit of the risk premiums coming off.
And of course, an item to keep an eye on here, we did have Gask, Egypt's main grain buyer, issuing two tenders totaling to 120,000 metric tons of wheat. It's going to be interesting to see if any of that is going to be sourced from Ukraine. That's one thing that we're going to keep an eye on over here. On the domestic front, we also had crop conditions come out, and that was a big surprise. We did see crop conditions slide pretty significantly. One of the major numbers that I thought was Texas poor to very poor, jumping from 31% to 52% poor to very poor. We had Oklahoma also sliding. Their good to excellent ratings are slipping here. Logan, what's your thought on that? Obviously, we traded down today. Do you think that could jump us up a little bit in the overnight session?
It could work to put a little bit of a bid in the wheat market, but at this time in the year, I think people discount the poor to very poor ratings a little bit. I think time's kind of running short for that mentality, but I don't know how much of a rally it's going to put in the wheat market here in the overnight session. Over the last couple of growing seasons, as this wheat crop is coming out of dormancy, we've seen some pretty poor conditions. And the wheat crop seemed like, from talking to clients, from looking at USDA numbers, seemed to recover in a meaningful way. So I guess right now, I think there still is time, it seems like, for this wheat crop. Obviously a situation, though, that needs to be monitored here week in and week out. And as we know, we're now coming into the spring. We're going to continue to get these crop condition ratings here each Monday. And right now, planting is a big focus for this grain market in general. As we know, we got the planting intentions report out on March 31st. If you want live mobile quotes here for this upcoming planting season on your mobile phone or your tablet, visit us over at GrainTV.com. You can take a no-obligation trial there. And as always, give our office a call if you have any questions, 877-472-4607. Thanks a lot for joining us here on a Monday for GrainTV. We'll see you tomorrow.